All right, it's the Locker Room post-game show. Landry Locker here, straight from the scenes. Texans topped the Colts 23-20. They improved to 6-2. They got a quick turnaround against the Jets. Get the comments in. Supers go to the front, and we got a lot to talk about with this win. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans. We'll hear from C.J. Stroud, and we'll get into what went down with the Texans and some of the stuff that was that stuck out. Some stuff that lingered around and continues to linger around, among other things. But my biggest takeaway from this game is whatever they thought was going to change on the offensive line, it didn't really change. They were able to come away with the win, and they deserve a lot of credit for getting the win. 6-2 is not easy to do. I'm sure that DeMeco Ryans will say that when we hear from him, but let's just be serious. Like this win comes down to a couple of things. First of all, the defense played their ass off. And second of all, Anthony Richardson, a.k.a. LaFar Jackson, is not good. He is not good. And I think had this been last year and the Colts had Gardner Minshew at quarterback, or had this been a couple of games ago and Joe Flacco had been quarterback, I don't think we're talking about a win with the Texans. I think Anthony Richardson in this game, he was the difference in the Texans getting the win. And the offensive line issues, the Texans said that all things were on the table. DeMeco Ryans said it's all on the table. When it came to evaluating this offensive line, they didn't change anything until they did. But they didn't change anything. You saw Kenyon Green out there. You saw Kenyon Green struggle. You saw Kenyon Green benched. And then you saw Jared Patterson in for a series. It was the Texans' only true touchdown drive that when Patterson went out there. And then Patterson went down. He had a concussion. And the Texans' offense struggled until Jaylen Pitre had his first interception in 2+ years. And he was able to give him a short field and give him the lead at the end of the first half. It is good to be 6-2, but the Texans have played a large number of games that they could have easily lost. And this offensive line remains a very big problem, specifically Kenyon Green. And props to Kenyon Green after the game. He was front and center. He was meeting with the media. He was talking to the media types. And he's always been an accountable guy. But the way in which Kenyon Green is playing right now, it's not just about one game with him. It's a situation where you are putting CJ Stroud in harm's way by putting Kenyon Green out there. Now, there was an interesting thing that happened in this game that we'll get to. There was a little bit of drama on the sidelines involving Kenyon Green that we'll get to in a second. And it wasn't just all Kenyon Green. There was other stuff going on, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But there is a serious problem at left guard. I don't know what the Texans do. I don't know if they just don't trust Kendrick Green. I don't know if maybe they think that Kenyon Green rallied nicely. But there's a clear problem with the way in which he is playing, and it's not new. Like, a lot of times hindsight's 2020. The most popular take all week was, maybe you should bench Kenyon Green, and they don't do it, and then they do it, and then they put him back in there, and it's kind of more the same. So they've got to figure something out there. Super chat from Jeffrey. He is swarming the super chat. Shout out to Jeffrey. Appreciate you.
Swarm.
He says the O-line is still crap, defense still fire, and how about Murray's performance on D tonight? Yeah, I mean, Anthony Richardson was handing out PBUs like Oprah hands out cars. Anthony Richardson, LaFar Jackson is really bad. And I guess in Indianapolis, he's getting criticized because he came out off the field after second down because he was, quote, tired. Now, I will say this, that play that he made before that, he avoided a sack that would have probably taken the Colts out of field goal range. It was one of those freakishly athletic plays that he's able to make, but he came in and let Flacco hand it off. And it was it was interesting to see because you look over there and you're looking in the tent and saying, okay, is he hurt? He's just chilling on the side like a running back. It was almost like Joe Mixon ran for 60 yards and Damen Pierce came in. That was what Anthony Richardson did. And I guess he's getting completely killed in Indianapolis, and rightfully so. But the offense was not that good for the Texans today. It was not that good at all. And the defense deserves a lot of credit. 5 sacks for the defense. Will Anderson, those sacks are coming in bunches. Devin White was a bigger part of things than most of us probably anticipated. We'll hear what Devin White had to say, as well as how he's feeling about the Jets. I asked him about that. In the locker room, you had Kamari Lassiter back. Lassiter, a significant upgrade over D'Angelo Ross. I don't know that you win this game without him. But this was a game where, you win, but there's a lot of problems, and the least of which is Stefon Diggs. Now you have Stefon Diggs. We don't have the official word, but it doesn't look good. And at the very, very least, at the bare minimum, you can say that Stefon Diggs is not playing against the Jets, and he might not ever play again as a Houston Texan. If we're being honest, it's a 1-year deal for Stefon Diggs. So what does that mean? I'm sure throughout the week we'll get into trades, we'll get into hypotheticals, and all that, but it doesn't appear to be good for Stefon Diggs at all. There's primary concern for an ACL injury. I'm looking at these medical stuff where these people do it. There's hope that it's just the meniscus, which, my God, when you're hoping it's just the meniscus, that's not completely ideal. But the injury is being described by DeMeco Ryans as unfortunate, and you gotta wonder what the Texans are going to do at wide receiver. I do want to give some flowers though, because I think the play of the game, like if you ask me what the play of the game was in this game, and we'll go through the recap in a sec, I think the play of the game for the Texans, it actually came after a Laramie Tunsil false start. The Texans were at 2nd and 14, slightly outside of field goal range, and Laramie Tunsil gets a false start. Texans go back to 3rd and 19 or 2nd and 19, and on the very next play, John Metchie makes a catch. I think it was a 29-yard gain that puts the Texans in field goal range and leads to them getting an opportunity. I know a lot of you people were pissed off at Bobby Slowick for the screen after that to Metchie.
Damn it, Bobby.
But they throw the screen to Metchie on 3rd down, which pissed a lot of people off, but they were able to kick the field goal because of the play Metchie made, the 29+ yard catch that he made to set that whole thing up. So I think that was the play of the game. I think a 2-possession lead against Anthony Richardson is significant, and props to John Metchie for going next man up right after Stefon Diggs goes down and making that play. Nathan swarming the super chat.
Swarm.
He says, this team reminds me of the 2016 team. Good defense and not much scoring on offense. The only difference is we have a much better quarterback. Well, that's a big ass difference. That defense was number 1 in the league. I think this defense, as long as they're healthy, you hear that knock. As long as they're healthy on the line, I think this defense can keep you in a lot of games. And I think as long as you have healthy corners, I think those guys can keep you in the game as well. So I think this defense is really, really good. The offense, you have a really good running back. You have CJ Stroud, who can save all butts. They need help at this point. Now, maybe that help comes in the form of Nico Collins coming back. One of the best wide receivers in the league. You lose Stefon Diggs, your best wide receiver comes back in Nico Collins. There's some help. Maybe you make a trade for another receiver. And I have no problem making a trade for a wide receiver, because the reality is Stefon Diggs is on a 1-year deal. There's a lot of names being thrown out there as possible guys. I know Cooper Kupp's being thrown out there. He knows this system very well. it's not just a rental type of trade if you're trading for a Cooper Kupp or a Christian Kirk or something like that. I don't know if they would trade you Christian Kirk in the division. Who knows? But you could look at this and say, okay, well, we're going to have this guy on our team this year and next. So it's not necessarily just making a rental trade because Stefan Diggs is not under contract and he wanted that. Now, the other part of it is maybe you get Stefan Diggs at some sort of a bargain. I don't know, but I would be open to trading for a wide receiver. The offensive line, they got to figure out. I think Patterson is probably going to be your starting left guard when he's healthy. He was 1 for 1. He came in. They scored the touchdown on the play. The touchdown kind of sucked. It was probably one of the best runs of the season for damn sure for Joe Mixon. Patterson goes down. He had a concussion. Wasn't anything lower body. He was actually in the locker room after the game. He's in good spirits. He seems fine. I think he got checked up at the medical center, but he was in good spirits. He was happy that the team won. He knew what was going on, but we know how concussion protocol is. There was no Henry To'oTo'o today. You're kind of at the mercy of the NFL, and there's probably a 0% chance that you're clearing concussion protocol in 3 days. So let's just be serious about that. I don't think. Now, I don't know. I don't have like the specifics of the protocol. I've seen people lay it out in depth. I don't give a rat's ass about that. Are they playing or not? I would not bet on Jared Patterson playing against the Jets. So there's that. But I do think he's your starting left guard once he's healthy, and it looked encouraging. So at the very least, you feel bad about the offensive line. Patterson at left guard, you got to feel a little bit better about that than Kenyon Green. And I don't know what's wrong with Kendrick Green. They don't trust him to play. And you can tell he's pissed about it because he is foaming at the mouth. That dude was mad as hell on the sidelines. That dude is mad as hell. At one point, he threw his helmet down. At another point, he was kind of moping on the side. I actually tweeted that out at Landry Locker. Hey, I respect a guy that is mad because he can't go out there and play. And quite frankly, with what Kenyon Green is doing, I don't know what they think of Kendrick Green, but they damn sure don't trust him because Kenyon Green was benched and then immediately put back out there. So I don't know what that says. Maybe it's because he's your backup center too, with Patterson out, and maybe there's something to that. I think maybe there is something to that where right now you just have, as soon as Patterson goes down, that's your second string center. He's out. Kendrick Green is your backup center now, and he's your backup left guard. So maybe that had something to do with it, but he was pissed off about it. He was very pissed off about it, and you could tell he wanted to go in there. I don't know. Maybe they think he's worse than Kenyon Green. I don't know how it could get much worse than what Kenyon Green gave you early on. And I don't think it got that much better, to be honest with you. I mean, there were a few good reps, but it almost seems like when you talk to people, oh yeah, he had some not. I love Kenyon Green. Again, salute to him for being accountable. When you see his parents on like the local news, I remember when Berman, shout out to Mark Berman, saw him today. That mofo's lost damn near 40 pounds. The Houston go-to media. Always enjoy hearing Kenyon Green's parents talk. You can tell he's a really, really good young man, but he's not playing well. He's not playing worth the damn at all. Random, but announcer called Mixon Joe Monkey SMH. I didn't hear that. Don't know what that was from or anything. Space City sometimes gets a little bit crazy. I don't know what that is from or the context. Our edge rushers won us the game. Hunter with a huge sack at the end. And on third down before that was just as big. By the way, that game should have been over. Why did they get 1 second there? Why did they get 1 second there at the end of that game? That game should have been over. Shouldn't even been a Hail Mary attempt. So I'm not sure why the hell that happened. And why that happened. And by the way, do any of y'all play Madden? I gave up Madden back in the day. I'm kind of the millennial age where people used to actually have to show up to the crib and you played and all that, smoke pot, whatever the hell you wanted to do.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets. Did you know what that was?
Screaming, yelling, 21 skunk, all that. I haven't really played Madden since then. I'm not a big Madden guy, but I think the ratings are the same. What is Anthony Richardson, a.k.a. LaFar Jackson? What is his awareness rating in Madden? If it's over a 7 out of 100, then he might be the most overrated player in the game. because that guy, he is a disaster. I know in Indianapolis, they're talking about him wanting to come out of the game. I actually give him props for that because it was going to be a 3rd and goal from deep. It's not like they were going to really be trying to score anyways. It's not like he came out on like a 3rd and 6. And that effort that he gave to get them to avoid being sacked out of field goal range, I thought it was nice. So no harm, no foul there with him. So I'll actually look past that and give him credit. Although in Indianapolis, I don't think he's going to get the luxury. And it is, in fairness to anyone that's upset with him, it is the first time that I've seen a quarterback go like that to go take a playoff, especially a 3rd down. It's kind of crazy. But at the end of the game, there was one play where you kind of were like, uh-oh, this could get interesting. And Anthony Richardson got loose, and y'all saw him in the open field. And he's going towards the Texans. He's going towards the Texans side of the field, and he breaks free. It's about a 24-yard run. And instead of just running out of bounds at the 30, he decides that he's going to lower his shoulder and try to truck somebody. And that takes an extra 25 seconds off the clock. If he would have just moved the chains, gotten to where they were a couple completions away from perhaps a field goal attempt, we might be talking about an overtime loss, but there's a decent chance that we're talking about an overtime game at least, or there's a better chance than what he did. This dude, instead of just running right to the sidelines when they'd already burned their timeouts, he decides to lower his shoulder and try to run over a Texans guy. I'm telling you right now, I don't know what his awareness rating is in Madden. If it's over 7 out of 100, then he's extremely overrated. So those are my biggest takeaways. The Texans need to get some changes on offense. Maybe those come within. The defense carry the offense today, minus Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is the best player on this team right now. There's no question. CJ is still the man, but as far as performance and as far as being able to overcome the weaknesses on offense, Joe Mixon has played better than anyone on the Texans offense. The defense was great, and LaFar Jackson, a.k.a. Anthony Richardson, is really, really, really bad. If they play Joe Flacco, we're talking about a loss. If Gardner Minshew is still there, we're talking about a loss. Anthony Richardson is not good. He is not good, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. And they're asking Shane Steichen right now to figure something out with it. It's not going to work. It will not happen. As long as Anthony Richardson is the quarterback for the Colts, the Texans, as they try to stack division titles and division wins under DeMeco Ryans, you have the most important advantage that you can have, which is the quarterback. LaFar Jackson is awful. Someone says Sham Newton. How about Scam Newton? Scam Newton. Scam Newton or LaFar Jackson when it comes to ART on the super.
You ain't never hate. Swarm.
Will Anderson has 7.5 sacks in 7 games. Defensive player of the year, perhaps. I don't know about all that. He's definitely playing well. The way that I said it during the game was Will Anderson, he was it was always like discussion about advanced stats and all this type of stuff. And that was like what people were praising, including the coaches, because we weren't seeing the production in the box score. It's the icing now. Advanced stats are the icing. They're no longer the kick. Speaking of Will Anderson, look at what he was rocking post game. He's going country, man. My man is feeling it right there. That was Will Anderson in the locker room. Not this locker room. The Texans' actual locker room after the game. That's what he had to say. Let's hear from the coach, DeMeco Ryans. What's he going to tell us about Stefon Diggs? Is he going to give us any news there? What does he think about the dub? Is he going to go on to New York quickly? Who knows? But let's hear from DeMeco. Texans win 23-20. This is the locker room post-game show right here. I am Landry Locker. You can see me throughout the week. I'm on the scene. SNL with Cody Stutes every morning. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, Reaction Monday. And we'll also be live at 8 o'clock on Friday and 9 a.m. Throughout the week before that. Let's hear from DeMeco, though. DeMeco Ryans talking about the dub, 6-2, Houston Texans. Here's the head coach.
But nah. Oh, man. Thankful. Fire away.
Like early in the first half, the pressure was getting to CJ to kind of turn things around. What did you feel like was happening in the first half, and how did you all make the adjustments in the second half?
Yeah, first and foremost, just really proud of our team and the way they battled today. Just, man, we talked about how hard this was going to be. Like, tough opponent, like division opponent, know each other well. They battled, really good team. So I'm just proud of all of our guys for finding a way to get the win. That's the most important thing when it comes to, pressure, whatever happened there. I mean, thought our guys did well. CJ finished with, 280 yards of passing. He made great decisions with the football all day, kept us out of some bad plays. Can't say enough about what CJ is doing and how he's, just leading this offense. So very proud of him. And it's just multiple guys stepping up, making plays. All right, Hutch, Metch, Schultz, everybody. Everybody on offense stepped up and made plays. And again, playing these guys knew it was going to be hard, all right, to stop the run. And Joe, again, over 100 yards. Joe showed up big time for us when we needed it most, making plays.
Coach, your defense forced 22 incompletions from Anthony Richardson today. What was the game plan going into this matchup to disrupt his rhythm, and how pleased were you with the defensive execution?
Our game plan is always about us, and that's the main thing. If we play our defense the proper way, if we're where we're supposed to be, and we make it difficult on the opposing quarterback, no matter who it is. So really proud of our guys for the way they covered, but also, more so it goes to the D-line, the credit for them and how they rush right together. Got 5 sacks. I know Richardson wasn't sacked a lot before coming into this game. We were able to get him down 5 times, and it was just multiple times we had pressure on him. So it's credit goes to our D-line, the way they got after it up front. Daniil, Will, Settle, everybody was in on the action of applying pressure on the quarterback.
Well, DeMeco, you said after last week's loss at Green Bay that there were a lot of things the team had to fix. Obviously, you got them fixed today. It showed. How big is that, knowing you got to play another game in New York in 4 days?
Obviously, we got them fixed today.
For us, as we evaluate each game, it's always an internal look at us and how we can play better. Wins, losses, it doesn't matter. Like, we go back and we look at it closely and see where we can improve. Even today, there are a lot of things, right, that we can clean up and we can play much better. Happy to come out with a win, but there'll always be things to clean up. And it's just about, as this season moves forward, it's about our team getting better, right? If we can continue to get better each week, we'll be in a really good spot.
Hey, DeMeco, can you just talk about how every time you needed a big play, whether it was on defense or offense, somebody stepped up and did that, and how that is kind of the spirit of this team?
It's a team first mentality. Like, I'll tell our guys, it doesn't matter who makes the play. It doesn't matter who gets the credit. It's not about credit. It's not about, one person. It's about the entire team. And today it took everyone. And that's what makes me, more proud as a coach, when you have different guys stepping up in all phases of the game, different guys stepping up, guys, battling all week, soreness, injuries, but guys stepping up and just going out and making plays for the team. And nobody's looking for a pat on the back. That's just how we operate. That's how we do. And I love that about our team, because that's our team culture. It's team first over everything.
Obviously, Stefon Diggs went down earlier. Do you have a kind of update on that? And if he's not able to play this when we will have a loss, he's losing a guy like Stefon Diggs.
Yeah, unfortunate to see Steph go down there. He's still being evaluated for a knee, so we'll really find out further information as the week goes on.
Okay.
Coach, how big was Eric Murray for the defense today? He made a lot of plays down the field. Really did a good job of just making sure the ball stayed in front of him.
Yeah, White was good. We'll get into that. We'll hear from him in a sec.
One player recognition, but how big was it there for this defense today?
Yeah, I thought Eric did a really nice job of, to get his hands on 3 passes there and bat him down. Really good job by Eric, and just in the tackling, everything. Eric did a really good job for us. Not only Eric, and having Kamari back was huge for us. The way he, competed and made plays. Stingley, thought he did a great job. They had some guys there that were open. Stingley, playing with unbelievable effort to make a couple plays on the ball there. So our back end, just all those guys stepped up and made plays.
These last 3 right here. DeMeco, obviously, Jared suffered injury if he's good to go, would he be your left guard, or did you like another?
Good question, man. Good ass question, man.
Yeah, as we keep going, we'll keep evaluating our offensive line. We'll see where our guys are.
He's the guard.
CJ, because basically you lost your front line of receivers, but then it seemed like there was no drop off because he just seemed like some guys got open and he was hitting the guys that was.
There was no drop off.
That progression and his maturation.
What?
Something astonishing, man.
Yeah, it's very impressive to watch. CJ as a young quarterback, and I talk about his calmness, I talk about his confidence, but it truly goes back to what I said earlier about it's our entire team. It's just about executing, right? The plays that are called, being where we're supposed to be, and it doesn't matter who's the guy. He's not staring down one person. He's going through his progression. He's making the proper reads, and he's taking the guys that are open. It doesn't matter who it is, and it just goes to his vision. Right. And when we have protection and him being able to make accurate throws all across the field. So, and can't say enough great things about, CJ.
He gutted it out.
He's continuing to grow as a quarterback.
He gutted it out.
And can you talk about Jaylen Pitre? It seems like he's found his space in this defense and the way he's showing up, and he seems like he's just continuing to progress throughout the season.
Yeah, he's our spark plug. He finds a way to be all over the field, whether he's in a blitz or just being active in coverage for him to get that interception there when they were backed up so we can get points. I mean, that was such a huge play. Man, you talk about play of the game. We needed it most.
One of them.
Kind of stalled out there on offense, but for Jaylen to get that pass, wish he would have scored, but no, I'm proud of Jaylen. He continues to get better. I mean, these past 3 weeks, I think Jaylen is playing some of the best football he's played for us. All right, thank you.
All right, there he goes, DeMeco. And I think DeMeco deserves a crap ton of credit for finding a role for Jaylen Pitre. It is the Locker Room post-game show here. I'm Landry Locker. Appreciate everyone for coming through. We'll be live after the Jets game on Thursday. That's immediately at the conclusion of the game. Little bit later during home games. But a couple things from DeMeco just to react there. He wouldn't give the clear update on Diggs. We don't know when he's going to be back. He ain't playing Thursday. That's for damn sure. He might not ever play again for the Texans. We'll get to that once we get the actual update on what's up with Diggs. I think DeMeco deserves a hell of a ton of credit for the way that he's handled this defense. I think the defense has been solid. I think the defense is the main reason they won today. You heard him talk about Jaylen Pitre. By the way, could I interest you in a stat when it comes to Jaylen Pitre? That interception for Jaylen Pitre was his first regular season interception. His first regular season interception since September 25th of 2022. That was 700 days ago. That was 2 years and a month ago. He intercepted Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears and actually had 2 in that game. That was the last time that happened. Last year in the traditional safety role, we didn't see Jaylen Pitre do his thing. And DeMeco Ryans adjusted. He moved Jaylen Pitre to a different spot. And Jaylen Pitre has done a hell of a job in that role. So I think that DeMeco Ryans deserves a lot of credit for that. I heard one of the questions was, well, obviously you got those issues fixed. No, you did not. I don't know what my man was watching there. And I'm not sure who that was, but I obviously they did not. If you watch the game, the offense was still up and down. And then you heard CJ Stroud hadn't dropped off with his main receivers out. His stats have dropped drastically without Nico Collins. And after Diggs left, outside of the long completion to Metchie, we really didn't see much in the pass game. So I think he's gutsy. I think he's gutsy, and I think CJ Stroud, you're always going to have a chance to have him make the plays that you need to make, like that Metchie play. But there hasn't been a drop-off with the receivers out. I don't think there's anything that would back up that notion at all. So they still got issues, and they're fighting an uphill battle when it comes to producing in the pass game, especially against the Jets. This is the second straight year where you're gonna have a depleted receiving core against the Jets. Last year, It was the game after Tank Dell got hurt. You lost Nico Collins on the first series, and nobody was able to get open. This week, Tank Dell's going to be wide receiver 1. You're not going to have Stefon Diggs. You're not going to have Nico Collins, and you're going to have to figure something out there. So we will see how that works, but the Texans still got their issues on offense big time. Big time, to say the very least. So we'll see what that looks like and how that goes the next time that the Texans take the field. But they got an uphill battle, to say the very least, a very, very, very uphill battle to say the least. Let's hear from CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, gutsy as always. Let's hear what CJ Stroud had to say after the dub. He's going to the place, the scene of the crime where he ended up getting hurt against the Jets. Let's hear what CJ had to say.
Congratulations after losing Stefon Diggs. And how important was it to find players like John Metchie and Hutchinson late in the game?
Yeah, prayers go out to Steph and him, and God doesn't make any mistakes. So, I hope he's okay. I don't know what's going on yet, but I'm praying for him and hoping that he starts to feel better. So and just want to give all glory and praise to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ first and foremost. I forgot that part, but man, it's not easy seeing him go down like that. I hope he's okay, but I thought Metch and Hutch did a great job trying to be better. I mean, not be better, excuse me, but step up to the plate and play really well, just like Steph was. So I just I'm really proud of those dudes. And, they got to step up big for us in a couple of days here.
Well, CJ, you knew you had things to correct after the loss of the Packers, and obviously you guys did a great job of it today.
No,
we knew it was a huge game, because if you lost the game, you're technically tied with the Colts.
That didn't happen.
Game lead. How big is that?
It's huge. It's they're always a tough opponent. Divisional games are some of your hardest games. So when you can find a way to win, we do. We clean up some things. But we got a lot of other things to clean up as well. But I definitely know that we're a heck of a football team, and we got to keep putting on film. And once we figure out the little kinks and things that we need to figure out, I think we're gonna be rolling.
Game, you found Tank at the end of the second quarter for a touchdown. How big was it to get him rolling today after a tough week last week and getting his confidence up a little bit?
Yeah, I think he had a great mindset coming into the week, just getting better, owning his ops, and I thought he did a great job of that. He ran a lot of good routes today, and me and him are really close, and we just want to feed off one another, and it was good, just to get our mojo back going. And I'm just super proud of him and, what he's been able to do. And, he's going to have to really step up big for us.
You mentioned just figuring out the kinks. You got a short week, Jets on Thursday. What are some things that you can take away from this game that you can build on, stack good moments from in order to not only get ready for the Jets on Thursday, but just to close out the season?
Yeah, I would say, just trust ourselves, stay aggressive. I think we can do a better job of getting 7 and not 3, and scoring touchdowns in the red zone. I think that's a big thing. I think, I thought our defense played really well. And, I'm not the coach, so I'm not going to say it. And I don't know everything. I haven't watched the film yet. But positive things, I feel like we can, keep running the ball really well. I think that's huge for us. And our play action pass is going really well. We can work on our drop back pass and things like that. But, yeah, there's a lot of things to learn from and, to get better at. So, yeah, we got to just get ready because, we're playing a really tough New York Jets team on Thursday.
Two-part question, CJ. First off, as you mentioned, only 4 days, you're playing again. Number one, how tough is that? And number two, the Jets are going to be really hungry because they got beat by the Patriots today.
Yeah, I would say, it's my first time playing on Thursday. So, I'm leaning on, leadership from older guys, and their biggest thing is recovery and, mentally straining on the game plan. So, it's a short week, but, it's, prime time football, got to be ready to play at a high level. And yeah, I believe that the Jets are going to be very highly motivated. They got a lot of weapons over there. One of the best quarterbacks ever to play, a big fan of his. Their defense, they have some really good corners. D-line is really good. And, I think C.J. Mosley and Quincy Williams are 2 underrated defenders in this league. So, they're a great defense. We got to be able to withstand the surge early and, just keep building and keep rolling.
Obviously, unfortunate that, Steph went down today. Throughout the first 8 weeks, how much do you think the check that you guys and the other receivers have, how much do you think that's helped integrate Steph up to this point?
Yeah, I think just the camaraderie, the brotherhood I've seen in that room is just kind of what I had in college, with Garrett, Chris, Jackson, Marv, Matt, and even all the way to Jupe, Sam Wickles, like our walk-ons, like everybody was close. And you kind of look at this team like that is, all the guys who are playing a lot, look out for the guys who aren't really playing as much, and they want to see those boys eat, so it's really cool to see. And I think, it's sad, but that's the worst part of our game is just injury. So, praying for Steph, I think he'll be okay, but I definitely know that no matter what, we got to be able to still win games, and I know he wants that for us at the end of the day.
You mentioned the defense, on what could have been a really big momentum shift with the pitch play. How big was it for your defense to go out there and have a 3-and-out and force another punt and give you guys the ball back at the end?
It's huge, man. We got to be better as offense, and that can't happen. We can't turn the ball over down there. We got to find a way to just get on the ball or, just not do that. So, yeah, I'm fully aware, that that's a big mistake, and now it could have cost us the game, you know what I mean? So we got to help. We got to play complementary football. We got to help the defense just like, when they help us, you know what I mean? So, yeah. All right, man. You guys have a good one.
All right, there you go. That's CJ Stroud live at the podium. Texans win 23-20. By the way, appreciation to what's the guy's name? Adrian for the correction. Pitre intercepted Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, it was January 1st, 2023. I was looking at the ESPN game log. It starts for some reason. It starts it starts with the most recent and goes down. So they don't like reset the schedule and go down. So I was looking at the bottom of the Chicago thing. So there is that. Herman on the super, time for Metchie to earn his money. He's still on a rookie deal. I don't know that it's not like they have like a heavy investment in John Metchie, but yeah, he's going to get a hell of an opportunity. Again, you heard DeMeco say that the Pitre play was the play of the game. I don't disagree. I don't know that you win the game even without that. But I would say the Metchie 2nd and 19 to get into field goal range and make it a 2-possession game is right up there, at least in the discussion. If we're making a top 3 list. Appreciate Adrian though for the help there. I'm done complaining about close wins. A win is a win, says Alex. I guess, but I mean, are you gonna? I get you can say a win is a win, but there are high expectations for the Texans, and a lot of the stuff that they're doing right now is not sustainable to reaching their goals. So, yeah, I mean, I think the way in which it looks does matter. There's sometimes where you win by a lot, and the game appeared to be a little bit closer. But I personally subscribe to, especially with good teams, the Jeff Van Gundy philosophy, which is don't ignore in victory what you would not otherwise ignore in defeat. And I think that the offensive line is still a problem, specifically Kenyon Green, and they got to figure that out. And right now you're going to get Nico Collins back. I think that helps a lot. Jared Patterson will probably be back Sunday against the Lions. Don't count on him playing on Thursday. So you'll figure that out. But the defense has been really well and really good. And one of the things that was nice about this game was the return of Kamari Lassiter, who, my God, it had to have been difficult for that young man not to play football because that's what he loves to do. I mean, when you opt into a bowl game at Georgia, when your college football playoff hopes are gone and damn near 90% of the team at Florida State opts out of the bowl game, and you play with the knowledge that you could be a first or early draft pick in the NFL. You know you love football. And Kamari Lassiter, he met with the media. I got the first couple questions in. I asked him, look at that chain right there. And before this, by the way, Joe Mixon came over and said, that's my young buck right there. And Kamari said, that's my old guy. So he's already fitting in the locker room. But I asked Kamari Lassiter how hard it was for him. He went in depth. Let's hear from the rookie cornerback Kamari Lassiter here in the locker room postgame show.
So you're known as someone who likes football. How hard was it for you to be out, and how nice was it to get back?
It was probably one of the toughest things that I had to do in a really long time, just being away from the game and just seeing all my guys going out there battling and just playing without me. So, I mean, that was probably one of the harder things that I had to do in a long time. And just to be able to come back, it was such a blessing. It just kind of slowed me down. The injury just kind of made me, just somewhat appreciate, what I had in front of me a lot more. And I'm grateful for it.
How'd you feel out there?
Oh, I felt amazing. It's amazing to go out there and play with these guys and play football, play a game that I've been playing since I was 3 years old, and play with the guys that I'm playing. I mean, they make it all the world.
You and Eric Murray were out there breaking up passes. You guys hold as a defensive unit, Anthony Richardson, to just 10 completions. What was the key to that?
Just playing as a unit. The guys that we have on the field, at any time, we just know that I just know that the guy next to me is going to do his job. So it just makes me want to do my job a whole lot more. So just going out there and playing. D. Murray had a great game. Sting had a great game. Pete had a great game. Kayla had a great game. I mean, he came back from an injury. Just going out there and fighting with his guys. So, there's nothing to it. Just playing with each other.
You guys allowed these 2 third-down conversions all game. What's the key to allow that to happen?
Playing as a unit, playing complementary football, understanding that the rush is going to do what they do, understanding that those guys up front are going to go hunt. So just knowing what the call is, understanding your leverage, and just attack it.
Look at Kunkel back there. What does Kunkel look like?
It's very hard. He's such a great athlete, and he has such a big arm. You never know what can happen.
Look at that
just really
just
playing what you see, and just playing fast, physical, and that's all it is to it.
That's a martini drinker right there,
great.
isn't it?
Blessed to be back.
That's a martini right there.
You guys got 8 guys
Chicken nuts third, please.
They're all overloaded on one side, and they still get to it.
What kind of
I'm back there. I'm watching. I'm guarding my guy, but I'm still watching, and I see he's not even going to be able to throw the ball. I'm already celebrating. Those guys they go hunt. They come in every day. They work extremely hard, and they go hunt. So, I expected nothing less.
I know a win is a win, but how do you like these tight games? Out of all the wins, except for the Patriots one, all of them were by 6 wins or less.
We're in the NFL.
6 points or less.
Every game is going to be tight. Everybody on the field is elite. So, we understand what comes with this win in the NFL. So, you got to be able to just go out there and win the game, however it happens.
Someone says Kunkel looks like a game show host. Look at my man Kunkel back there. It's looking like a sharp TV. Look at that right there. Look at this guy. Look at Kunkel, man. Look at this dude. All right, welcome to Let's Make a Deal. You're the next contestant. But that was Kamari Lassiter. Kamari Lassiter has been a hell of a pick. He's been a hell of a pick. An excellent second-round pick. There was a lot of talk. Man, can he play on the outside? They miss him when he's not there. They might have won in Green Bay with Kamari Lassiter. And all he wants to do is play football. You saw him out there. He had the one tackle. He's hitting himself. I thought he was going to be the one to get a concussion, not Jared Patterson. How crazy that mofo was out there. But he likes to play ball. And he did his thing, and this team is better for it. They got a hell of a corner duo. We talk a lot about that front four, rightfully so. Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, money. Tim Settle, by the way, we'll hear from him in a second. Money, absolute money. There were jokes. I participated. I'll ask him about the joke. But we all remember Eric Armstead. He signs with the Jaguars. Defensive tackle was looked at as a weakness, and that same day they signed Tim Settle. 4 sacks, 4.5 sacks, I think, this year. He got a sack that maybe Devin White could have got. But Tim Settle, the joke was they settled for a new for a defensive lineman and didn't get Eric Armstead. Tim Settle's been great. We really haven't seen Autry do his thing yet. Mario Edwards, he was playing great. 10-year vet. But those corners, those starting corners, corner depth, probably not too strong. But those starting corners are great. And when you have great guys on the outside and you have great guys up front, when your offense struggles, when you can't block somebody, when your receivers go down, you can stay in some ball games. And that's what the Texans have been able to do. Also doesn't hurt to have that crazy wired up mofo wearing number 28 doing his thing either. Let's hear from Tim Settle. Apparently Tim Settle, and I found out about this after the game. I didn't know this was a thing. I was talking to Tim Settle, and he was kind of getting talked to by some of his teammates. Will Anderson was the one with the joke, but Tim Settle says he has a new, look at this face right there. That looks like a winner right there. Tim Settle said that he has a new tradition where every time he gets a sack, he buys a watch. So Tim Settle is going to get to buy a new watch because once again, he got a new sack. Here's Tim Settle, who's had a hell of a year for the Texans this year, talking about the dub.
So another hard-fought win against the Colts. Just how hard is it to get Anthony Richardson down?
It's like a DN. So you can get your biggest, nicest, normal size DN in the NFL. I feel like he simulates that. His image is similar to a defensive end.
I saw I think you got the sack. So that's now 4 sacks on the year. Why have you been so effective getting to the quarterback?
I'm doing what they asked me to do. I mean, they keep it simple. You know, when we rush, we rush. And when we try to stop the run, we try to stop the run. You know, I feel like Coach, I feel like he has a lot of faith in us, knowing that we're going to be able to impact the quarterback. And, you know, we got a lot of trust in one another. So when we're out there, we're able to rush. Actually, I mean, it's what we practice all week.
I always talk about on to the next game. This is a quick turnaround. What kind of challenges is playing on Sunday and then playing on Thursday?
How fast can you forget this win and go on to the next game? You know, you gotta be able to have a next day mentality and next game mentality. I feel like take it. Look, hey, I told last week I said I'm gonna get a sack, I'm gonna get a watch. I'm getting another one this week. Hey, y'all tune in.
So you're gonna watch after every sack?
Yeah, from now on out. That's my own incentive.
Okay.
For anybody that got watch companies, brands, your boy, Tim Tom.
Okay.
There you go. So that's Tim Settle. Always got the jokes, doing his thing. And hey, man, he has been fantastic. And I think that's the interesting thing. Now, different situations, different types of guys, different positions, but I often, and I don't know how you judge it, but I often like to judge coaches by their specialty. Now, you've got to be able to coach beyond your specialty. You can't just be an offensive guy and ignore the defense. You can't be a defensive guy and ignore the offense. But I like to judge them by their specialty. DeMeco Ryans' specialty is defense. And his defense from the time he's gotten here to here, whether it's finding a guy that's here and finding a situation to put him in the best place to succeed, Jaylen Pitre, whether it's finding guys that are kind of reclamation projects or guys that maybe haven't produced at as high of a level as expected and getting something out of them as fill-in guys, Derek Barnett and Tim Settle, whether it's building things around certain guys, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, whether it's finding guys that maybe other teams don't value as much, Kamari Lassiter. DeMeco Ryans has done a hell of a job at his specialty. Now, do they need to improve offensively? Are there question marks about the offensive staff? I would say so. But DeMeco Ryans, he definitely, when it comes to his specialty, he's done his thing. And he deserves a hell of a lot of credit for that. Hell of a lot of credit for that. Absolutely deserves credit for what he's done with his specialty. Speaking of those questions about the offensive staff, I was driving back and I saw this and I gave him a hard time about it. But John Crumpler, who does a great job for HOU football, shout out to Crumpy. Smarter than all of us, but I like picking on him every once in a while. Whenever I like giving him credit, but I like picking on him whenever it's deserved. He had this tweet after the game. This was crumpy. Let's get this a little bit bigger. He said, quote, Trevor Lawrence threw for 300 yards against the Green Bay Packers today after they held C.J. Stroud to a career low just a week ago. But apparently, having conversations about Houston's offensive coaching staff is off limits. Where the hell have you been? That's all I see in the chat is questions about Bobby Slowick. And I was actually defending Slowick, and I still do to a certain point because I do think there's offensive line limitations. But Bobby Slowick had to face the music about what happened at the end of Green Bay. There's people who want Bobby Slowick fired right now. And he's saying it's off limits. Crumpler, don't let two people on Twitter hurt your feelings to where you make a fool of yourself like that. I love Crumpler. Follow him at John H. Crumpler. I'm sure he's going to have a great breakdown. He does the breakdowns better than anyone, but my God, I already know what he's being for Halloween this Thursday, being the Scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz, because that's one of the biggest straw man arguments that I've ever seen in my entire life. That's like one person hurt your feelings. So it's like when someone says something is people say, my God, Crumpler, you can't talk about Bobby Slug. Who the hell is saying that? The answer is nobody at all. I think there's a nice little mix of it, but I'm seeing all types of venom. And I saw Bobby have to face the heat. P Nasty on the chat. Landry, what's up with Devin White? We played a lot of 4-3 today. You seem excited about that. What does that say about DeMeco's willingness to adjust? Seems like there's some good stuff to unpack on this subject. His willingness to adjust on defense has been on display. We haven't even seen Christian Harris yet. They basically got Jaylen Pitre as their third linebacker, and they've been playing two guys. Today we saw Devin White playing a lot for Hansen. We saw him play a hell of a lot for someone who hasn't played very much. And he was really, really, really good, I thought, given what we could expect from Devin White. And I think he's going to be a valuable piece of this squad. Also think he might be the most spatted up dude on the squad. But I caught up with country-ass Devin White along with the rest of the media types, asked him about how he felt and what kind of shape he's in. And I asked him also, it's a quick turnaround against the Jets. How you feeling? Here's Devin White minutes after his debut as a Houston Texan.
Oh, hell. Now you have to mentally just lock in, Haven't really played a series in a long, long time. So I think that was the only hard part. It's just when they got us on the long series, being able to just keep my composure and just dig deep. They ran me off a couple of times. But other than that, I feel like everything was fun.
How'd you feel like you played?
I played okay. Got to be better. Got to finish a lot of those plays, be a little more sound on my technique, going through the learning stage. But, it's about the ball, making sure I'm attacking the ball, finishing every play, and just giving my all, just putting effort out there, for the coaches and my teammates to see to steadily earn their trust.
Anthony Richardson and Taylor, how tough is that backfield?
Yeah, man, two great guys that can run the ball. Richardson got a big arm, he can sling it. He can extend plays, and he showed us that. But I mean, at the end of the day, they get paid to do that. We get paid to stop them, and I think we won more times than they did, and that's why we came out victorious. So that's just a testament, to the team just playing together and swarming to the ball.
What do you think about this defense now that you've been out there with these guys?
I love it. Just want to be able to help even more. Get myself in better shape, put myself in better position to make plays and. Just continue to earn the trust, but everything else, the guys on the sideline, everybody in the linebacker room, they have my back. If I got any questions, nobody shy away from answering, so we can all just be on the same page because at the end of the day, it's about going 1-0.
When did you get the idea that you were getting into playing this match?
Man, I really, I don't know. It's just kind of been a toss-up. It just keeps saying just work hard, just like come to practice, work hard. I spend a lot of extra time up here. In the mornings, I'm like one of the last ones to leave because I just want to learn the defense so I can be able to help and for them to feel comfortable with me out there and being able to call everything that they want to call. So I don't know. I think, Coach Bill, he tell us every day is a interview. to go out there and play. So I feel like towards the end of the week, I want to say Friday night, Saturday, the mock game, he like, hey, you might get a shot. I got to talk to Nico, and we'll see. Just stay ready. And I mean, that's all I can ask for is just the opportunity.
Is there any big challenge having a Thursday game? You're talking about staying in shape. Do you anticipate being ready to go on Thursday too?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm one of the ones not dressed. I just went in there and did a bike flush.
Okay.
Tomorrow I'll come up here and give me a run in because I know it'll be a down tempo week, but I'll make sure I get my work because I'm playing catch up to those guys. These guys been at it for 8 weeks now, going hard. All I got is the training camp part, and these guys got real game reps.
How nice is it to join a team? You're 6-2. You're right there in the mix where you're playing catch up, but you're right in the middle of lofty goals, division, all that.
Oh yeah, I don't think I wanted to go to a team that didn't have a bright season. That wasn't going to have a bright season, because I've been winning since I've been in the league, and I know what type of energy I bring in the locker room, and I wanted to take that to somebody that was already sending up, and I feel like this was the team. I knew God was going to put me where I needed to be, and it's just all glory to Him for bringing me here, and thankful to everybody else that reached out, that I didn't go to. I was thankful for that opportunity that I could have had, but I feel like this is where I need to be, and I'm just going to make the best out of this opportunity and get better every week.
I was talking to Tim. I think they gave him credit for the sack. Seems like you could have gotten credit for the sack.
They might. I hit him.
Yeah,
I hit him.
I thought you were going to at least get the half.
I hit him and he went down. I really didn't watch the play. I was just so much in the moment of just having fun that it really didn't matter. I probably got a lot of sacks in my career, and I got a lot of football left to play, so it'll come.
There you go. Okay. So didn't get the sack, but there's plenty more where that came from, is basically what he said. He's going to be a contributor. And it's actually a very, very impressive linebacker room. Even if you get what you got from him today as like a reserve linebacker, and the upside is way higher, you have a Pro Bowler at 26. If you get that, and then you eventually get Christian Harris back, whether it's late November, December, who knows? And then you have these other guys who have gotten better, and Toa's back from concussion protocol. It's a damn good linebacker room, man. And that's not something that I think people anticipated saying heading into the season. But that could end up being a damn good linebacker room, to say the very least. There is zero doubts about that. Max says it's hard to get in a rhythm when they can't trust the offensive line coaches and players. I agree. And that's why, the Bobby Slowick thing is kind of wild. But yeah, it can't be easy for him. Dark Side DJ says we gave up a second-round pick for an 8-game rental. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's. I don't look at it that way. And I know a lot of people do, and I think on paper that's what's said. But I looked at that as a 3-way trade where you actually traded back 18, 19 spots, whatever, and it ended up being for Stefan Diggs. And if you remember back to what the actual trade was, the Texans made the random ass trade after they failed to trade for Keenan Allen. They made the random ass trade for with the Vikings to go back to get their second round pick, which was at some point in the second round. They still had their own second round pick, so it's not like they didn't have a full draft allotment. And they ended up trading the second round pick for Diggs. So it was kind of a 3-way trade. I don't know if they don't really do 3-way trades in the NFL, but it's not like they just had their own second round pick and they traded it for Diggs. Cause I don't think they even make that trade out of the first round if they didn't already know that they were going to trade for Diggs. And I'm not pulling that out of my ass. I think that's probably the way to look at it. There's a lot of other like people that are outside of Houston that'll probably say that, and that's fine. But Nick Caserio, weeks before the draft, did not just say, you know what? I'm going to pick up the phone and trade with the Minnesota Vikings and get a second round pick. And then all of a sudden say, you know what? Stefon Diggs, maybe I can get him for this second round pick. No, that was essentially like a de facto 3-way trade where you still had your second round pick. Actually ended up having 2. And you ended up getting what you wanted in Lassiter and Fisher, and you traded back 19 spots for Diggs. So I don't look at it that way at all. I've said that many a times. I think they would have held off on that for a while. Kenyon Green getting a lot of crap in the chat, rightfully so. He's played like crap. But the one thing I will say about Kenyon Green, he's accountable. And he is the first guy to face the music whenever it's necessary, whether he's playing good or whether he's playing like crap. And he was benched today. He was reinserted. Here was what Kenyon Green had to say after the game. And I want to just kind of take y'all behind the scenes as to what was going on as this benching happened. But first, let's hear from the man himself, Kenyon Green.
Focus on what's that task, that drive, trying to score, trying to, win the game.
Kenyon, to come in and out of the game, how did you handle that? So the ebb and flow.
Say it again?
To be in and out of the game the way you were, how did you handle the ebb and flow of that?
In football, you got ups and downs, so, just continue to keep going, keep pushing.
And to stay out there, what do you feel like you need to do to keep your position, doing what you want to do?
Do my job. That's all I need to do.
How do you feel like you guys played as a unit today?
It was okay. I feel like we, definitely be better, especially on my end.
Saw Bobby have a conversation with you after the extra point before you went back in there. What was the kind of message from that conversation?
Just telling me, just keep being me, just keep getting better, just keep fighting.
We'll take one more.
How you feeling physically?
I'm good. I feel good.
All right, there you go. So that's Kenyon Green after the rough performance. So it was kind of an interesting scene when he got benched, and the press box is right in front of the Texans bench. So you kind of saw this shape up. You saw Kenyon Green come to the sidelines, and it was obvious they got to get this guy out of here. Like they got to get this guy off the field. Like he is struggling, and the coaches agreed, and they ended up taking Kenyon Green out. They ended up putting Jared Patterson in, and you saw Jared Patterson go in there. The offense scored the touchdown, but on the Mixon touchdown, you saw Jared Patterson go down with the concussion. Saw him walking around. Seems he's basically at the mercy of the NFL. I don't think we see Jared Patterson till they face the Lions 2 weeks from today. Definitely not going to play against the Jets. I wouldn't bet on. Although I'm not in the trying to make sense of the NFL's concussion protocol business. Anyway, as soon as Patterson went down, Stoots just mentioned that, and I sit next to Cody Stoots and Texans Cap in the press box. God, thank God I don't have to sit there and listen to some of the yapping I used to have to listen to in the old seat. Such a better seat. But anyway, I digress. He talks to Kenyon Green, and then you see Kendrick Green pissed off. He throws his helmet down. And after he throws his helmet down and kind of goes to the side, I actually tweeted out the picture at Landry Locker, and you can see he's just pissed off because he's not in the game. Then on the very next series, you see Kenyon Green kind of get beat twice. CJ Stroud gets hit on one of them, and you're like, what is going on here? What are they doing? And you can see Kendrick Green getting more and more frustrated because he wants to play. Now, maybe because he's the backup center and guard, they don't want to risk him, and he's got bad knees, and he's been kind of banged up. They don't want to risk him getting hurt. So maybe there's a little bit more to it, but you could tell Kendrick Green wanted to play. And then you saw him go to the exercise bike. Damen Pierce came over and talked to him. And then Kendrick Green went back into the section where the offensive line kind of sits there and gets coached up. But it was very clear that Kendrick Green, he felt that he should be in there. I'm not a body language expert, but when someone throws their helmet down, they're pissed off and they're off to the side, kind of huffing and puffing. You assume that he wants to play, and he was obviously pretty pissed. I didn't mention this. I got to give it. Yeah. Damen Pierce first 2 returns of the year go 40+ yards. I'm going to start calling him Damian Hester. That's the new nickname for Damen Pierce. Damian Hester. He is your full-time kick returner. So yes, he was very good. But the Kenyon Green thing was really interesting. I think Kendrick Green wants to play. I think the Texans don't want him to play for whatever the reason. And we'll see what that looks like Thursday when they take on the Jets. But here's my thing, and this is going back to the Van Gundy theory, okay? And I know they got the dub, and I know we're all happy that the Texans are 6-2, and there's plenty of room for improvement as Nico Collins, Azeez Al-Shire, Jimmy Ward, all these guys get back. They do something with the offensive line. Maybe they make a trade. Who knows? There's reason for excitement, whatever they got to win. Here's my question, though, okay? And they could have very easily lost this game. And let's pretend Jared Patterson never gets hurt. And let's pretend the offense, like they did the one series that Jared Patterson was out there, let's pretend that the offense is moving the rock and they completely dominate. And let's pretend that Jared Patterson looks like he's better than Kenyon Green, which he probably is at this point. Here's my question for the Texans coaching staff in regards to the Texans coaching staff. And this is the coaching staff on Monday where DeMeco Ryans said there's been a consistent problem with this offensive line. Everything is on the table when it comes to a potential change. This is the same staff where Bobby Slowick said it's been a number of things that have been wrong. Bobby Slowick also says that Juice Scruggs and CJ Stroud are doing a good job, which leads you to believe that Kenyon Green is there. Coaching staff aside, this is a chat. This is a community. The Locker Room on YouTube. Subscribe, like, right along. Where we asked on SNL, myself and Cody Stutes, we asked, what would you change about the Texans offensive line? What would you change? We threw out some scenarios. Do you move Titus Howard to left guard and move Blake Fisher to right tackle? What do you do? The most popular idea was bench Kenyon Green. That's what people saw. And then into this game, with CJ Stroud getting knocked on his ass multiple times, Kenyon Green gets benched. And then he gets put back on the field, which maybe that's an emergency situation. Maybe there's more to that. Here's my question, though. And it's a fair question based on everything I laid out. A lot of times there's like a lazy mentality where people say, well, anything in the hindsight's 2020 and blah, blah. No, this is not hindsight. This is based on the coach's words. This is based on people who watch the games. This is based on everything that we know. And this is based on what they did in this game before Jared Patterson got hurt. This is my question when it comes to this Texan staff. Because right now we're talking about a win and we're talking about a struggle on the offensive line and we're talking about Kenyon Green going back in there. But the consequence for mishandling the offensive line can be everything. And I won't even say what I'm saying. But one missed block and one hard hit can end any hope of you doing what you want to do as a squad and what the goals are. You can battle it out when the wide receiver gets hurt. You can battle it out when other players get hurt. You can find ways to gut it out. This team's going nowhere without CJ Stroud. So when it comes to protecting CJ Stroud, when the offensive coordinator himself says, well, CJ made a bad play at the end of the Green Bay game, but that's because he got hit 12 times. Kenyon Green was a big part of why he got hit 12 times. A big part of why he got hit early in this game. And again, might be a emergency situation that he went back into the game. And quite frankly, eventually he had better reps than he did previously, but we're kind of grading on a curve because the beginning was that bad. But here's my question. What in the hell And why in the hell did the Texans have to see what they saw to get for Kenyon Green to be benched? Why did they need to see that? What did you think he was going to go in there today and all of a sudden look like Wade Smith? What did they need to see? Like, we anticipate there's going to be some sort of change. There wasn't a change. Now, they confidently decided to receive, and they said that they showed that they were confident in their offense, and eventually they drove down, they got 3 points. What did they need to see? Why did they need to see that for that to be what got Kenyon Green benched? What was was there just hope that he was going to go out there and look great? I don't know. I don't know what they do moving forward, but I just don't understand why they needed to see what they saw for him to get benched. I do not get it. I don't know what the hell it was. But luckily they held off the Colts. They got their 23-20 dub. They're 6-2, and it's on to New York, and they're in a really, really good spot. So shout out to DeMeco and company for getting it done. The defense, John Metchie with the big play, Jaylen Pitre with the big play. They got the job done. Speaking of big plays, I'll toot my own horn here. Here is, if you followed along this week, shout out to BetUS. And I understand a lot of times whenever betting stuff comes up, it's like, I don't want to pay attention to that. But if you paid attention this week and you piggybacked, and I'm not a guy who does like the weekly parlay, I was kind of feeling it this week. And this is what we had this week. Your boy tried to win you some money, BetUS. Just go back in time and look at this real quick. Things, $40 to win 600. So this is $40. And by the way, if you want to get in on that, I think if you put $20 in, then you can still have $5 to play with. And if you win this 600, you can basically just put money in. $20. You make this bet. But I put my parlay is 40 to win 600. I like Dalton Schultz with the over 33.5 receiving yards. He had the one catch last week for 28 yards. I think he's going to need to be a part of things. I like him on the over. I think they know this. Josh Downs, I like him in the slot with Pitre, so I have him over 38.5 receiving yards. CJ Stroud over 240.5 passing yards. I think he's going to have to throw. I think he's going to have to figure some stuff out. Joe Mixon over 2.5 receptions. First half. Then I have the Colts over 19.5 points. Ding, ding, ding. $40 to win 600, baby. You can do that too at BetUS. Promo code YouTube150. So there you go. That was this week's parlay. I don't even know if I'll do a parlay next week. But we'll see how it goes. Texans got a short week. Reaction Monday tomorrow. SNL, 8 a.m. Join us. It'll be a reaction, and then we're going to have to go on to New York quickly. So it might be a split. So we'll see how that goes. But the Texans get the dub. They lose Stefon Diggs. How long are they going to lose Diggs? Does this mean they make a trade? Kenyon Green benched and put back in. What the heck does that mean? There's a lot to get into. Regardless of what happens when it comes to the Texans, when it comes to this stuff, we're all in it together. Thanks for joining me on the Locker Room postgame show. Subscribe, like, ride along. And always remember, when it comes to this Texans stuff, we're all in it. Together.
Yeah.